And okay, we're actually up and running now again, and I have a motion moved by Deputy Mayor Turton, second by Councillor Elliott, that the Council of Town of Minto resumes at open council. Anybody opposed? Seeing none, we're in open. I have a report coming out of closed, moved by Councillor Dirksen, second by Councillor Anderson, that the Council of the Town of Minto receives a report from the Director of Building and Planning Services regarding the sale of land in Palmerston. That further, the Council approves the confidential direction to staff. Anybody opposed? That's carried. Moved by Councillor Gudson, second by Deputy Mayor Turton, minutes of the Town of Minto March 1st, 2022 closed session meeting and March 1st, 2022 regular council meeting be approved. Anybody opposed? That is carried. Additional items as disclosed. Let me know if you need, Jeff, you have one? Hey, just remind me, Jeff. I'm going to cancel here. Okay. Okay. Moved by Councillor Elliott, second by Councillor Dirksen, that the Town of Minto Council convenes in the Committee of Adjustments. Anybody opposed? That is carried. Okay, we have a Committee of Adjustments today, and I will call the public hearing to order and state any decision reached by the committee today cannot be used to set a precedent. Each application considered by the committee is dealt with on its own merits. No two applications are exactly the same. I will state the following. The public meeting is to consider minor variance application MV 2022-01 Jennifer and Christopher Clark. I'll call on Treasurer McRobb to state the following information. Go ahead, Emily.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Bridge. The property subject to the proposed minor variance application is legally described as lots 6 and 7, southwest side of Yonge Street, Grain Survey in the former town of Palmerston, town of Minto, county of Wellington, and is municipally known as 660 Yonge Street in the town of Minto. The subject property is approximately 0.4 acres or 0.16 hectares in size. The subject property is proposed to be severed through consent application B822 to be considered by the Wellington County Land Division Committee. B822 proposes to sever one residential lot, approximately 0.17 acres or 0.07 hectares in size, from 660 Yonge Street. The purpose and effect of the minor variance application is to provide relief for the subject property from the required lot frontage permit for the construction of a semi-detached dwelling unit. The subject property is currently zoned to permit a semi-detached dwelling unit. However, Section 12.2.2.2 of the Town of Minto's Comprehensive Zoning Bylaw 0186 as amended requires a minimum lot frontage for a semi-detached dwelling of 18 meters or 59 feet, whereas the subject property is proposed to have a lot frontage of 17.5 meters or 57.41 feet. Additional relief may be considered at this meeting. The notices were mailed to the property owners within 200 feet or 60 meters of the subject property, as well as the applicable agencies, and posted on the subject property on March 3rd, 2022. Comments have been received from our planning technician from the town of Minto, as well as the junior planner from Wellington County. I will advise the committee that we do have a registered participant, Lisa Gonder, for the public hearing.
Thanks, Annalene. And I'll call on Terry's going to do this today. I guess Ashley's not here. So Terry, go ahead.
Perfect.
Our town report.
Thank you, committee. So as mentioned, the property is located at 660 Yonge Street in Palmerston, which is located right adjacent to the Yonge Street entrance to the Palmerston Arena. I'd just like to mention that that entrance is a driveway, not a municipal road. So the exterior side yard setbacks don't apply. So as mentioned, the owner is proposing to sever the vacant portion of the property off, leaving the existing single family dwelling. The vacant portion is located between the entrance to the arena and the existing house. So that's where they're proposing to construct the semi-detached dwelling. The R2 zone permits a variety of density of residential units, ranging from a single family up to a fourplex. Being the owner has declared what his and her intent with the property is of the construction of a semi, we can seek relief in conjunction with the severance application for the for the lot frontage as well as the unit frontage. The reason why there's those two separate frontages, legally you could construct a semi-detached and leave it all in one ownership. So that's why there's the 18 meters for the entire building. But with majority of them being split in half and sold under separate titles, they do have the individual frontage per unit as well. As you'll see on the survey sketch that was attached to the report, the proposed frontage is slightly larger than what is being requested. When town staff met with the applicant, we had suggested that they apply for slightly more relief, and it equates to about a foot in total of additional relief, just in cases of where the survey sketch doesn't match with the survey that's completed. The sketch is kind of the idea or the proposal, which generally is close to what the survey is. But just in case that, you know, there's a slight variance, there's a little bit of wiggle room. And the other reason is with respect to the lot frontage per unit, if the constructed semi, the party wall doesn't lie in the middle of that property line, then there is a little bit of wiggle room where the property line is versus the individual unit frontage. We did receive comments from Wellington County, Wellington Source Water Protection, and Maitland Valley Conservation Authority, and neither of those agencies had any concerns with the proposal. Staff did review the application and were satisfied that it met the intent of both the zoning bylaw as well as the official plan. And as mentioned in the introduction, it is being ran in conjunction and concurrently with the consent application, which council will review later on this meeting. So I would be happy to entertain any questions that the committee may have.
Okay, I'll hold the questions up, Ron, until we get through everybody, and then we'll do the questions at the end. Okay, thank you. And I have the applicant. Does the applicant want to speak at this point in time? I don't know if I had down here Jennifer, but I don't.
I think that they are available for questions, Mayor Bridge.
For questions, okay. And maybe I'll turn over to Lisa if she would like to make some comments. She, one of the neighbors. Go ahead, Lisa. Can you unmute, Lisa?
Yeah, I just want to question what the gradient and drainage for a semi-detached. We have water issues on this road, has for decades apparently. Mm-hmm. And just wondering how that works as far as what you can do for a new residence as opposed to somebody who's been here for a couple decades and I guess has been grandfathered. Two mini waterfalls at the front of the curb off of their house. So I was just wondering how that works out as far as with the zoning and the aquifers underneath. How are they going to tie in that we're not going to have more waterfalls over the curbs of our township streets?
Okay, Terry, did you want to take that one on?
Yep, absolutely. Hi, Lisa. So with respect to new development, all types of residential development in the urban centers do require a lot grading and drainage plan. What that plan has to account for is that the post-development off-site flows aren't any higher than the pre-development. So it allows the situation to stay the same, but it can't displace any additional water off-site than it does currently.
So currently
and staff, I was just going to address the comment about the aquifer. I do know that the water table in that area is fairly high. I believe the applicant's aware of that as well. So we'll have to take that into consideration with whether or not they put in a basement or address it through the waterproofing requirements in the building code.
So the building code, but as far as for the lot 7, which already has a current residence on it, what has to be done to satisfy the neighbors surrounding that we're not dealing with and out of pocket as I have been in the last 7 years that I've been on here trying to keep up with the apparently flooding somebody's house, which I have nothing to do with, and they run towards my house. So I've just had to deal with a lot of issues, which I've sent that information to you. So I'm just wondering how is it justified that that guy can't tie in like these people that are just putting in a new housing? Like,
So
I just don't understand what's going on with the water and the drainage. We can't afford sidewalks here, so you took them out a couple of years ago. I was backfilled with gravel. I had to replace the gravel with my own topsoil. I just don't understand what's going to happen to lot 7's 25-foot pipe that right now is currently being sopped up by a willow tree in lot 6. So where does their water go? Or is that going to be grandfathered like I was told it was going to be grandfathered, like the people down the street 2 doors down from me on my side?
So, yeah, as you mentioned, your property is across the road from the subject lands. With respect to the grade plan that's required, another item that they have to deal with and address is accepting any water that currently flows onto that property. Typically, that's done through swales. Through the grade plan, that will determine whether or not there's any sort of connection required to the storm sewer, be it a catch basin in one of the properties or potentially both, as well as whether rain leaders have to be connected directly to the storm opposed to overlands. So that's something that hasn't been addressed at this point. Is that something that kicks in at the building permit stage? This is strictly for the relief for the 2 frontage requirements.
So then we don't know what's going to happen as far as until we're at construction?
So that is something that staff reviews as part of a building permit submission.
Yeah, so Lisa, that would be done on the site plan part.
Mm-hmm.
And what kind of notification do the surrounding neighbors have so that we can at least be prepared for our basements to perhaps take on other situations that could occur because of
And as I mentioned, with your property being across the road, I can't foresee that development there would impact your basement flooding situation.
But Terry, 2 doors down, the guy said that I was causing his flooding in his basement when I put your city leaves on the curb in November. And so he came along with his ATV and blocked my 90-year-old mother into our driveway where we couldn't even move out to pick me up from an operation I was having. So I'm not too sure what's going on down here, but I'm worried about the construction. When we're at a construction level, that we're going to have a grandfathered situation like we already presently do. And now he's got 2 sub pumps on his property and it's still not doing what it needs to do. And now you're going to put in a double semi across the street, as well as lot 7 still has a issue with where they're putting their water. I'm just concerned for, the fact that we're here and currently lot 7 appears to be a rental unit. I don't know what's going to happen as far as who's going to look after this, but I've already been having to look after my side of the road as far as trying to keep the drains clear so that I don't have ice forming on the road because we have no sidewalks anymore. So there's just a lot of issues that I'm seeing here, and I just don't know if I can hear anybody address it tonight, or it's just going to be addressed at construction time.
So Lisa,
there's a lot of variables.
I'm going to turn over to our CEO, and I just want to say that yeah, obviously there's lots of concerns and problems and we have water problems in most of our communities. So, but I'll turn it over to Derek right now, and but that's not the issue today. That's not what we're dealing with today. But go ahead, Derek.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to Lisa. Lisa, it sounds like there's some historical concerns you have around your property, and I'd be happy to look into those and investigate for you. So maybe what I might suggest is you reach out to me at the office tomorrow, and we can go through some of those things. But I think, as Mr. Kuiper has said, that the purpose of the meeting tonight is to talk about relief for frontage for the property across the street. But it sounds like you have some very valid concerns around some of the neighboring properties and such. So I'd be happy to talk to you about that. So you may want to reach out to me and talk to me tomorrow at the office, and we can have a conversation and plan out what we can do or what we can't do. Okay.
Well, I appreciate you listening and hearing my concerns. And as Terry stated, it is a high water level that we're dealing with out here. So I just would like to have somebody maybe take a more of an attention to the situation that's already here happening. And then we have this construction on top of it. But thank you very much.
Thanks,
Have a
Lisa.
great day, and thanks for being essential.
Okay, take care. Okay, open it up to questions for on this issue about the, not the water issue, because we can't deal with that tonight, but on the actual frontage side and the numbers. Councillor Elliott, go ahead.
Terry, at any time, if they decided, could someone make a driveway from the side road that goes into the arena? Is that a
No, that
possibility?
portion, that portion of the driveway is actually owned by the Agricultural Society. So it would be no different than someone installing a driveway across someone else's private property. You can't do that. So there is no potential for access through that side.
That's considered a lot then, eh?
Correct. Yep.
Side. Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Ron. Anybody else got any questions? I think it's pretty straightforward. It's very small difference. So I think, Anne, we probably could go with the approved.
Thank you, Mayor Bridge. I'll read that out. That the Town of Minto Committee of Adjustment approves the application by Jennifer and Chris Clark for property legally described as Lot 6 and 7, southwest side of Yonge Street, Grain Survey in the former town of Palmerston, Town of Minto, County of Wellington, with a municipal address of 660 Yonge Street in the Town of Minto to provide relief from Section 12.2.2.2 for reduced lot frontage of 17.5 meters or 57.41 feet, and from Section 12.2.2.4 for reduced lot frontage per dwelling unit on a separate lot of 8.5 meters or 27.89 feet. We would require a mover and a seconder.
Yeah, mover and seconder, Deputy Mayor Turton, seconded by Councillor Dirksen. Anybody opposed? That is carried. Okay, thank you. And my last statement on here is anyone wishing to receive a copy of the notice of decision and committee adjustment in respect to the minor variance application must make a written request to the clerk of the Town of Minto at 5941 Highway 89, Harrison, OG 1ZO, or email at anline@town.minto.on.ca. Now let's close that. Official meeting is closed. Okay. Moved by Councillor Anderson, second by Councillor McKenzie, the Town of Minto Committee of Adjustment convenes in the committee of the whole. Anybody opposed? Seeing none. Okay, public meeting, there's none. Delegations, none. Correspondence received for information. Moved by Councillor McKenzie, second by Councillor Gudson. The council receives the correspondence as information. Does anybody want to pull anything out of there? Okay, that is, oh, go ahead, Judy.
Should we be looking at item C? I'm not sure whether she's thinking that would be someone from our organization or whether that's just a public thing that we are.
Actually, Derek, do you want to, Robin reached out on that. We were already working on something on that, are we not?
Yeah. Through you, Mayor, to Councillor Dirksen, we are working on establishing a liaison to talk to them. We're also, matter of fact, I know Kyle's on here tonight as well. The northern municipalities, Wellington, North, and Mapleton, are also looking at working with Kyle to evaluate what the programs might or might not be, and then finding a way to get back to council. So we are working on it. I had asked Clerk McRob to put it on just so you're aware of the work that's going on at the moment, and we'll have something probably back to you in the next weeks to come.
Yeah, I think Councillor Dirksen, there was a good concern there. We wanted to get working with them if we could. So that's already been. Is that good, or are you?
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, and that is passed. Anybody opposed? That is carried. I will now. Oh, I still got this thing going. Reports of staff. So I will now turn it over to Terry to present the report. Terry, go ahead. You got the first report.
Perfect. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of council. So the first report is with respect to 22. This is the same, or this is the severance application that's being run concurrently with the minor variance we just heard. So as previously mentioned, the subject property is at 660 Yonge Street in Palmerston. And as mentioned before, the applicant is proposing to sever the vacant portion of the property off the existing single family dwelling, and again, located between the house and the entrance to the Palmerston Arena. The zoning of the property is R2, which does permit the use. And the applicant obviously is aware that there is a zoning deficiency with respect to the frontage and unit frontage measurements. So we've just heard the minor variance public meeting for that. Staff did review the application and are in support of the application with the 5 conditions listed in the recommendation. Which are the accounts on, or the town accounts on the property are current and in good standing. Cash in lieu of parkland dedication is paid to the town. That public works are satisfied there's an adequate access for both units of the semi-detached. That servicing can be accommodated to those new units, and confirmation that the severed and retained lots comply with the zoning bylaw. So I would be happy to answer any questions that council may have.
Okay, I'll open up for questions. Any questions? Kind of gone through this already, so, okay. I will then move by Deputy Mayor Turk, second by Councillor Elliott. The Council of Town of Minto recommends the County of Wellington Land Division Committee approve the consent application B822, Jennifer and Christopher Clark, for the land legally described as lots 6 and 7, southwest side of Yonge Street, Grain Survey in the former town of Palmerston, Town of Minto, County of Wellington, with the municipal address of 660 Yonge Street in the Town of Minto. The following conditions be considered. And there's 5 conditions there, and I hope everybody's had a chance to read those. And I will call the question. Anybody opposed? That is carried. Okay, Terry, next one.
Perfect. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So the next severance application is B14/22 for Mr. Al Dobson. The subject property is located at 215 Henry Street in Palmerston. Excuse me. And can be legally described as part of Park Lot 2, west side of Henry Street, Borthwick Survey. The owner is proposing to sever the house, which fronts on Henry Street itself, removing it from the vacant land to the property in behind. Contrary to the report, there was a little bit of conversion issues there. The severed land is approximately 0.12 hectares, so this would be the residential lot, which is 0.29 of an acre, with the retained lot, that's the vacant portion, being about 3/4 of a hectare or 1.84 acres in size. Both the severed and retained parcels are zoned R2, which permits a 1 building per lot with a density up to 4 units within that 1 building. So even though the vacant parcel to the rear is, fairly large, the way that the property currently would stand after the severance is approved, only 1 building could be constructed on that property. There are the potential of additional buildings, but that would take additional consent applications or plans of subdivision, which isn't being proposed at this moment. So staff reviewed the application and had the following comments. From the finance department, the standard financial condition be added to the application. The public works standard access conditions and entrance permit prior to the issuance of building permits. So one thing that was in the report, but I didn't mention, is that vacant property has a fairly wide frontage on Mary Street. So that's where the access to the retained lot would go. As council can see on the survey sketch provided, there are multiple easements that bisect this property. Public Works would like confirmation from the applicant that the services that those easements are intended for, that the services are contained within the easement. So this would be the time if any slight modification would be needed. So that's why they're looking for confirmation on that. Another comment that was brought forward is that it appears on the aerial map as well as a drive-by inspection that Some materials from the adjacent business have been inadvertently placed on the vacant portion that's being retained. So staff would like those items to be removed as they're not associated with any sort of residential use. So as such, town staff recommends that the council supports the application to land division with the conditions that address the aforementioned concerns, which again are listed in the recommendations. And in addition to the ones I have already mentioned, payment of cash in lieu of parkland dedication, servicing can be accommodated to the retained parcel. So again, that's the vacant one. Offsite works, any offsite works, and this is just a note, must be completed by a pre-qualified contractor. Future development costs are at the sole cost of the owner developer. So that would be the case of a future plan of subdivision or future subdividing of the property. And the standard zoning compliance verification condition. So that is all I had to summarize for Ashley's report, but I'd like or be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thanks, Terry. Questions? All right. Can I already read who I didn't give the first. Okay. Moved by Councillor Dirksen and second by Councillor Anderson. The Council of Town of Minto recommends County Wellington Land Division Committee approve the consent application B1422 Barb and Alan Dobson for the land legally described as Part Lot 2, west side of Henry Street, Brothwick's survey in the town of Palmerston, town of Minto, County Wellington, with the municipal address of 215 Henry Lane in the town of Minto, and the following conditions be considered. And as Terry went over the conditions, they're there in writing. So if anybody got any concerns, okay, anybody opposed? That is carried. Thank you. And I'll turn it over to Councillor Dirksen, who's up next, I believe.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have 4 reports on the agenda tonight for Public Works, and the first 3 we're going to ask Mike Doucette to bring us those reports. This is a tremendous amount of work in these, as I'm sure that you know, but Mike's going to take us through the reports and kind of explain what all they mean. Go ahead, Mike.
Thank you, Councillor Dirksen. So tonight, the first one is going to be the 2021 management review, which is element 20, requirement of our DWQMS. The management review was conducted on or completed on November 17th of 2021. Some key components of it were our ministry inspection scores, which we scored 100% on all of our drinking water systems. In 2021, we had 1 adverse water quality incident related to just our regular weekly back sampling in the town of Clifford from one of our normal sampling points. Our main breaks and service leaks were up this year, totaling 16 in altogether. Breakdowns of kind of 8 in Harrison, 6 in Palmerston, 2 in Clifford. But the good news is all of our breaks were classed as category 1, which means no evidence of any sort of contamination during the course of the repair. Our 2020 external audit occurred November 9th and 16th. We had no non-conformances and there were 6 opportunities for improvement identified. Our 2021 internal audit, which was conducted between July 27th and October 19th, once again had no non-conformancies and 4 opportunities for improvement were identified. In regards to water taking levels, flows continued to increase over 2021. This is believed to be the continued result of people having to work from home due to the pandemic, as well as the ongoing development within Minto and in the town of Palmerston in particular, because of the tower outage that obviously used a little bit more water than under normal conditions. As far as customer complaints throughout the 2021, citywide continues to be a very good tool in the tracking of the different types of complaints and the numbers of complaints that we that we receive. The amount of complaints were pretty much the same between 2022 or 2020 and 2021. 2021 it was 61, and in 2020 there were 63 complaints. Of course, the largest number of complaints continues to be high water bills and data logging requests from the consumers. In regards to sampling, Clifford wells continue to be sampled quarterly as per regulatory requirements for arsenic. However, all of our samples are below the ministry's maximum acceptable concentration level, so we're still well within compliance in regards to arsenic. Some more general highlights that occurred in 2021. Our renewed municipal drinking water licenses and associated drinking water works permits were received on May 26th, with our new expiry date of May 25th, 2026. The Palmerston permit to take water was also renewed. We received it March 31st with a new expiration date of May 31st, 2030. There were 52 new water meters issued between the towns of Palmerston, Harriston, and Clifford since the end of 2020. The town of Minto servicing strategy was completed in 2021. Minto has applied for some funding under the ICIP Green Stream funding program for the new production well in Middle Pines that is required. And we should be expecting to hear from them hopefully shortly or sometime in the springtime here. That well was drilled in 1982, so it's 40 years old, and it's in need of some work. The Palmerston Water Tower, of course, as everybody knows, was our real big ticket project that was completed in 2021. The outage was from May 7th to July 13th. And this was to complete maintenance within the tower and complete an exterior overcoating and a new fresh paint job. And last, out of one of the action items that came from the management review meeting, we have recently completed the training of a staff member for the DWQMS internal audit training. So they will be conducting our internal audit this year, which is good. It takes a bit of pressure off some other staff and whatnot with our turnover that we've had. So that's a very good accomplishment for Minto. And that completes the management review portion.
Okay, super. Thanks, Mike. Anyone have any questions? Okay, I'm going to read the recommendation. Deputy Mayor Turton has left the meeting, so I will need a seconder for this first motion, first recommendation. Okay, Councillor Gunston. So recommendation, no, sorry, you can't do it. You moved it, Councillor Gunston. I need another seconder. How about Mayor Bridge? Moved by Councillor Gunston and seconded by Mayor Bridge that Council of the Town of Minto receives the PW Public Works Report 2022-008 regarding DWQMS management review and the management review meeting outcome report. And further, that all council members review, approve, and endorse the reports, as well as their commitment to the drinking water quality management standard and the DWQMS operational plan. So we'll have to sign these, I'm assuming, Annalene, okay?
Yes, that's correct. They will be available at the Town of Minto office for you to sign.
Okay, super. Okay, last chance for questions. Okay, is there anyone opposed? Okay, seeing none, that carries. And Mike, I'll let you take us through the second report, please.
Thank you, Councillor Anderson. Second is our 2021 external audit that was conducted by SAI Global on November 22nd. There were no non-conformancies identified in the audit, and only 3 opportunities for improvement were identified. The opportunities for improvement were related to the element 4, the DWQMS representative appointment procedure. Element 6, the drinking water system descriptions, and element 11, personnel coverage. The resulting outcome of the audit was that Minto maintains its accreditation to be able to continue to operate our drinking water systems. And the majority of the opportunities for improvement have already been updated or in progress. So we're definitely taking all the OFIs into consideration and should be implemented fully shortly.
Okay, that's great. Okay, are there any questions this time around? Mayor Bridge.
And it's not a question. I was waiting till Mike got through this one. Good job on all the stuff you've been doing, because you know, you've had some changes and you've had people coming on board and COVID and everything else. And I imagine it was very stressful, Mike, over the last year and a half to 2 years with all that happening. So good job, and nice to see these results.
Thank you, Mayor Bridge.
Yeah, our water is definitely in good hands. The water systems are in good hands. Okay, I'm going to read the second recommendation. Moved by Councillor Elliott and seconded by Councillor McKenzie, that Council of the Town of Minto receives Public Works 2022, that should be, -009 report regarding the 2021 external audit outcomes, and further that all council members review, approve, and endorse the reports, as well as their commitment to the drinking water quality management standard and the DWQMS operational plan. Is there anyone opposed to that recommendation? Okay, seeing none, I'll declare that carried. And one last one, Mike.
Yep, this one is for our 2021 annuals and summary reports. The annual report was posted to our website for the public to view if they so choose on February 22nd. Apologize if some of this stuff seems repetitive, but it's the nature of these reports. So we scored 100% on all of our community's drinking water systems in 2021. In regards to sampling, there were no organic, inorganic, lead, or any other chemical component exceedances in our sampling. Once again, Clifford wells continue to be sampled quarterly for arsenic as per ministry regulations. In the town of Palmerston, some big things that were completed in 2021, as previously mentioned, the water tower maintenance and shutdown between May 7th and July 13th. The Whites Road service line replacement was completed. For Clifford, we conducted some additional arsenic testing to see if there's anything that we can do operationally to help in the arsenic results up in Clifford. Water main replacement was completed on Allen Street East. For Harriston, there was a replacement of our well 1 well pump motor during regular well maintenance inspections. And also the replacement of well 1 and 3's pump house roof was completed. For Minto Pines, we had to replace the body of one of our key flow control valve components. And there were no non-conformant or no non-compliance issues for any of Minto's drinking water systems under any regulatory requirements. And that completes my reports.
Okay, more good news.
Yes.
Very good. Are there any questions on this report? Okay, seeing none, I will read the recommendation. This one is moved by Councillor Anderson and seconded by Councillor Gunson, that Council of the Town of Minto approves the 2021 annual and summary reports for the Town of Minto drinking water systems, including Clifford Drinking Water System, Harriston Drinking Water System, Palmerston Drinking Water System, and Minto Pines Subdivision Drinking Water System, and further that individual members of council, the CAO, and clerk sign the respective reports as stewards of the water infrastructure. This post. Okay, I'll declare that carried. I was talking to Mike earlier. This, I think, is the first time in my recollection, at least, that we've had all of these reports all at the same meeting. Generally, we kind of get them in dribs and drabs, and I was saying to Mike that I kind of like it having them all at once, because we can kind of see how they flow together, and how the whole system works, and how these reports kind of relate to each other. And I know it is repetitive and so on, but I guess I sort of favored maybe doing this, continuing to do this in the future. And Mike said there's no reason why we can't do it. There's no rule that says we can't. So I'm just wondering about the rest of the council, whether that's something that you think would have value, or am I way off base? I got one thumbs up.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, Judy. I love the way it flows, and as you say, there's a lot of repetition, but it flows nicely and you know where you're at. So if Mike can do it, I say that's the way to go.
Well, I think he's been saving them up for us. But certainly these reports just represent a huge body of work. And as I said, our water systems are in really good hands, and we appreciate Todd and Mike and the entire staff that look after the water system for us. We may be the owners, but we really don't know much about water. So we really have a lot of faith in you guys looking after the system and looking after our residents, our consumers, and looking after our interests for sure.
Thank you very much. I relay it.
Yes, I'm just wondering, do we usually sign a blue book?
Yeah,
when we
I
get
think there's several signatures we'll be needing to do
So-
as a result of these reports.
We can do the same time we do, and Lean will have that in her.
They will be
Yeah.
at the office and are available anytime for you guys to come out and sign.
All right, thank you.
Bring a pen with lots of ink.
Yeah.
CAO Thompson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to express my thanks to Todd and Mike for all their really hard work on this. This process takes up a big chunk of time for staff to go through, especially Mike, and he's diligent, and he's probably one of the best persons I've ever seen go through this. So congratulations, Mike, again on some great reports, and it shows in the results, obviously. So on behalf of myself and senior team, thank you very much for doing such a great job.
No, thank you very much, and I'll say that I can't do as good a job as I do without the other staff that we have. So I'll second my thanks to the water operations department.
Yep, that'd be great.
Yep,
Okay, thanks,
thank
Mike.
you very much.
And we have one more item on the Public Works agenda, and that's the Source Water Protection Annual Report. And Kyle Davis is going to bring us that report. Welcome, Kyle.
Thank you, Councillor Dirksen. Pleased to present with you the 2021 annual report for the town of Minto for source water protection. As you may recall, there are 2 reports that must be submitted to the ministry by February 1st of each year. As in other years, risk management source protection staff submitted both of these reports to the conservation authorities as required on behalf of the town this year. In 2021, just I'll briefly summarize some of the actions from 2021. In 2021, we continue to work with Terry and his staff and the county planning staff in regards to screening and looking at development reviews, planning and building applications. So there's 5 notices issued and another 31 applications that we either provided comment on or reviewed in terms of source protection considerations and requirements. Overall for the county, you'll see that we've had an overall increase. We're up to 390 applications. Development is booming in lots of places. There's a slight, it's booming here in Minto too, but there is a slight decrease in our numbers. However, as you may recall, there was a change in sort of the administration of this program about 3 years ago, which had up until that point resulted in increased numbers, and now we're seeing the numbers kind of come down to where we would expect them for Town of Minto. It's in line with Wellington North and some of the other northern municipalities. We continue to do work in terms of existing activities, and these are in most cases auto body repair shops, as well as some manufacturing industries. We are down to 11% remaining in terms of negotiating risk management plans. That represents actually 9 risk management plans that are outstanding at this point. We did make some progress last year. We signed off on 3 last year. We were slowed, however, in 2021 and in 2020, obviously with COVID and with the pandemic restrictions. We're looking forward, though, to, as things lift, to sort of finish up those numbers and hopefully report back to you in about a year from now with all of those wrapped up. We continue to complete inspections in the town around source protection requirements. 12 inspections were conducted, most for compliance purposes and some for verification of activities. There's a summary there on education and outreach. Education outreach was a little limited in 2021 in comparison to previous years. Obviously, the in-person components have been, didn't happen. I was going to say curtailed, but they really didn't happen in 2021. But there was still some successes. We continue to participate in the Waterloo Wellington Children's Groundwater Festival. I know a number of schools from the town have a long time participation in person. And this last year we held the first virtual festival. I'm pleased to announce we actually increased our participation from 5,000 students to about just under 6,800 students, and also increased the number of schools as well. So 2022, it will be virtual still, and then we're planning in 2023 to be back in person. And then lastly, staff continue to be involved in reviewing various amendments to the source protection plans, and in regards to the town, it's the Saugeen Valley Source Protection Plan and the Maitland, Solid Bayfield Maitland Valley. The Saugeen Valley, if council will recall, we've previously reported on just in the fall of 2021 to council, and we provided comments during that official pre-consultation period. Public consultation ended just before Christmas. And we are at this point, the amendment has not yet been approved by the province, but certainly will be approved hopefully in the next year or so. And the septic inspection program, there was no septic inspections completed last year. However, they were postponed due to the COVID pandemic. We are within the 5-year window, however, 2020 to 2025. So we are looking countywide to start the septic inspection program up this year. Please take any questions that there may be.
Okay. Thank you, Kyle. Does anyone have any questions? I think you're going to get off easy.
Right.
Okay, I'll read the recommendation then. Moved by Councillor McKenzie and seconded by Councillor Elliott that the Council of the Town of Minto receive the 2021 Source Water Protection Annual Report information. Is there anyone opposed? Okay, declare that carried as well. Thank you, Kyle.
Thank you.
And I will turn the chair back to Mayor Bridge.
Great. And I'll be Deputy Mayor Turton now because I've taken over his role at the moment. And basically, we have a really exciting one to do today. And I'll get Gord Duff, our treasurer, to do the report. Go ahead, Gord.
Great. Thank you, Mayor Bridge. Yeah, it's nice to have a good news report talking about a project that will start this spring. So as you know, been working with Belinda and Annalene on this one. And we've already had some redevelopment. I know Public Works did some road and water improvements in the area of Allen and Laura Street this past year. And it's very, I think, related to our COVID response is we want to have more spaces for outdoor gatherings. And we can have that in a pandemic or out. And Clifford has a lot of nice parks, but the property we're talking about is right at the lights. And we call it Clifford Rotary Celebration Square, kind of the heart of the village. And there's been a few both federal and provincial incentive programs for developing public spaces. And we worked with our friends at Stemsky Kelly and Associates, who Town of Minto has worked with for many years, to develop plans as an event space, kind of an all-season thing. We'll be able to have part of our markets and informal gathering places, and also Christmas and winter celebrations too. So we received 2 bids on this one, both from firms in the area. One was Pine Corner Tree Farm and Robos Farm Service. And there's quite a difference. One was 199,000 and the other about 122,000. And both proposals look good. Jerry Robos has worked actually in Clifford before on our downtown project not too long ago. And the price is a little higher than we thought, but not surprisingly, we've been working on this one for a few months and most prices are higher. We're also getting some funding from the Clifford Rotary Club and the Minto firefighters. And we're also hoping to hear some positive news about another grant that's in the works too. So we should be able to cover it in our budget through the enhanced funding. So anyway, we look forward to getting it done. And one of the provisos of our funding is that this project be completed by June the 30th. So we will be able to do that through this proposal. So certainly take any questions or
Questions? I'll just make a comment. This is a great opportunity for Clifford. The way where it's situated and what we've done so far with the pavement and the parking lot at the back through COVID, we've had quite a few things that we've been able to do outside with our partners that we have on board. I think this will be a real hub of economic development. I wondered, Belinda, if you wanted to say anything on that, because that's sort of where I really feel this is going to be a big win for us.
Yeah, I think a big reason our project was successful with the grant is because of all the partners. We had 11 or 12 partner letters of all the groups in Clifford and in Minto in general that are planning different programs in the space. So yeah, it's definitely the goal here is to like get traffic to stop and shop, and even just to bring the community together again. It's been a long time. So we're really excited to have a short turnaround and going to kick off the first event on July 9th at the Clifford Street celebration. So mark your calendar.
It'll be super. And there's more, a lot of traffic goes through there. So.
yeah.
And I should just note, sorry, Mayor Bridge, that it's actually Rick Robus doing this project, which is Jerry's brother.
That's
Okay.
right.
Okay, sure. That's fine. Okay, any other questions? Okay. I've got a move by Councilor Dirksen. Sorry.
Councilor McKenzie, maybe?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Did you have a question, Mark? Sorry.
I didn't have a question, but I also have a comment. And
Go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
think it's going to be a real eye catcher, and not people driving through, motorists and their families are going to use that, and over the years there'll be thousands use it, and it's a real bonus.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. I totally agree. Yeah. Okay, sorry about that. I missed you there. I put my head down. I didn't see your head go up. Okay, moved by Councilor Dirksen, second by Councilor Anderson. The Council of the Town of Minto receives FIN 2022-005 report regarding tender 2022-03 Clifford Rotary Celebration Square, and further, the Town of Minto awards the tender to Robus Farm Services for the total price of $121,900.11 due to HST. Anybody opposed? That is carried. Great.
Thank you.
Now I have Anne. Lean's going to be doing a presentation on why we're having so many meetings. We really, it's good news in a way. I mean, I hate to work you so hard, everybody, but the point is we need these meetings to get all this development going. So go ahead, Anne.
Yeah, so through you, Mayor Bridge, I know that last year you did provide a motion that allowed us to have additional meetings, but that was just for 2021. 2022, again, has come out as to be a very busy year for planning items. As of the date of this meeting, which is the 6th meeting of 2022, you'll have already considered 18 planning reports and 5 minor variances. So, I mean, I updated the criteria to state that there are 3 or more planning meetings. It would be the same criteria that we passed in 2021. And we want to be able to trigger meetings as required. So you have these meetings where you're considering all these water and other staff reports, and you can have the public meetings and the other ones in their separate reports and their separate meetings. For example, April 5th, there's going to be at least 4 public meetings and 2 more planning reports. Usually we would call for it the week after, but that is good roads. So we're calling to have one next week. March 22nd, as there are 5 weeks in March, it makes it a little bit easier. So you're not doing 3 weeks of meeting in a row. So my recommendation is that you allow the mayor to make the call to, as the criteria set out, to allow for additional council meetings.
Good, thanks, Annaline. Any questions? Again, thanks for your cooperation on this. Okay, and I've got, where's the resolution here? Moved by Councillor Gunson, second by Councillor Dirksen. The Council of the Town of Minto allow for additional council meetings as required at the call of the mayor, urging the criteria set out in the March 15th, 2022 report. Anybody opposed? That is carried. Other business. I think, Jeff, you had something. Go ahead. I remembered. That's not bad for an old guy.
That's good. I'm going to put my minor hockey hat on. So
good for you.
This Sunday on March 20th, we're having Minto Minor Hockey Day.
Yeah.
So it's going to start at 9 a.m. and go through right till probably 6. So if you want to see some Minto teams play hockey, that's a good time to go. You can be there all day. There's some raffles and food, and I think they're going to open the bar after lunch. So
nice.
Come on out and support the teams.
That's nice that you're able to do that again, Jeff. I mean, that when we were kids, minor hockey, that was the big night. Everybody, the stands were full, and everybody got to see a few of their kids play, and it was always exciting for us as kids.
Yeah.
Councillor Elliott.
Just wondering, Councillor Gunson, have you got your sound system working?
So I'm not sure, because when we had our tournament, the Unite tournament, you couldn't hear anybody talking. So we presented player of the game, and the kids couldn't hear us talking. So I'm gonna say I'm not sure.
Oh,
I thought we fixed that, Ron, didn't we?
We have our skating club is going to have their carnival in Palmerston, and our sound system is really poor. I kept bringing this up, and we just seem to not be able to fix it. You can't. The last 81s game, we can understand what they're saying, but it's not the same as being at the other arenas where you can hear the sounds coming out really nicely and loud and such like. And I don't know what has to happen for us to know one time it's on, next most time it's off. And
Eric wants to speak.
Said there was you couldn't understand a thing, and we've seen that where they're giving out numbers forever, and you have no idea what they're saying.
Well, it's because I know before COVID, quite a few years back, they put some money into trying to get that fixed, Ron. But I'll have Derek maybe mention something to it, because and then with COVID being on, we probably maybe didn't realize it's gone bonkers on us again.
It has to be upgraded, or something has to be done, because we're going to have that, Harrison's going to come over with their figure skating club and come over, and it's so important. They got to introduce their skaters. They got to have music.
Well, Derek wants to speak to that. So obviously they might have already been looking into it.
All right.
Okay, go ahead, Derek.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to Councillor Elliott. Why don't you leave that with me, Councillor Elliott, and then I'll follow up with staff.
Yeah. If you're doing a figure skating thing, they may have to get some additional stuff done, like it's just a special stuff, whatever, but because you really need it. Yeah, it's unfortunate, because I know they'd worked on it a few years back, and I thought they had it better, but we'll look into it. Okay. Well, thanks, Jeff. That's good. That's all good news. And did your team not do fairly good in some this year that you coach? You might sort of brag about it a little bit. I
think we have a tournament team, because in playoffs we didn't do so well.
But good tournament.
Our own Minto tournament, we went 3-0 and we won.
Yeah.
And we were just in Elmvale this past weekend, and we went 5-0 and we won the tournament there. Yeah, so
your tournament team. Yeah,
It's been really exciting for the kids.
yeah, good stuff. Oh, they're so excited at that age. That's fun. Okay, anybody else? No, okay. Moved by Councillor Anderson, second by Councillor Gutson, that the committee of whole convenes into regular council. Anybody opposed? Seeing none, carried. Any notices of motion? None. Moved by Councillor Elliott, second by Councillor Dirksen, the Council of Town of Minto ratifies the motions made in the committee of the whole. Anybody opposed? That's carried. Bylaws. I need somebody to move this because I have Deputy Mayor Turton. Moved by Councillor Elliott. Oh, sorry, you already seconded it, Councillor Elliott. Moved by Councillor McKenzie, second by Councillor Elliott. That the bylaw number, yeah, okay, got it. Bylaw number 2022-21 to confirm the actions of the Council of the Corporation Town of Minto respecting a meeting held March 15, 2022 be read first, second, and third time and passed open council seal the corporation. Anybody opposed? That's carried. Moved by Councillor Gutson, seconded by Councillor Dirksen. That the Council of Town of Minto adjourns to meet again at the call of the mayor. Anybody opposed? That's carried. And just want to say it's been a pleasure being here in sunny California while you guys are up there in the snowstorm. But that's the beauty of technology.
I think we're supposed to get 16-degree weather tomorrow.
I know you are, and then you'll just be about 5 or 6 degrees lower than us. That's all right. Anyways, I'll see everybody. Take care. Bye.
I go.
Bye, everybody.